Hi guys, today we're going to talk about the German sniper rifles. I got Matt with me. Matt, you own outstanding website about the German World War II German snipers, but also you are very involved on the K98K forum. So I'm going to pick your brain and we're going to cruise through that and try to come up with some workable solutions for the guys who are watching this. So there's no secret that the German sniper rifles were always on the top of the totem for the collectors. Mm-hmm. Nothing changed. Well, the bad thing about this is the fakes were being made as early as possible. What would you advise to the guy who is trying to find one to do as of today, as of 2021?
Well, I'd say first and foremost, know your limits. You got to have a very basic, good understanding of the base rifles themselves before you even start getting to the scopes and mounts. Stick to basically 1944 and later stuff. Don't start with short side rails. Don't start with SS. Don't start with ZF-41. Start with high turrets and long side rails, and just study Mauser Orbendorf in 1944. You understand what should be numbered, when, how.
As far as the studying, I'll include the link to your website in the video comments and description, but also go on the forum.
The best place to learn about the rifles themselves is Mike Steves and Bruce Carum's books.
Sure.
Buy particularly volume 2, and again, understand, because what the Germans did was they took rifles they'd already produced, and the ones that had higher accuracy, they sent them over to be converted to sniper. So every sniper started as just a basic regular infantry rifle like the rest of them.
Speaking about that, I'm really happy you touched on this. Matt, explain this to me. How in the hell that happened? So if I look into the history, the Germans, World War I, were way ahead of everyone in the sniping game. And after the World War I, during the World War I, everyone was playing a catch-up game. The British or the Americans, we were trying to duplicate what the Germans did. Then after the World War I, the industry in Germany is still doing fantastic because the Germans sparked the Soviets sniper program. Germans were involved in the Japanese sniper program because of their optics industry and what the people were doing. But if you look into the Germany, when Germany started the World War II, actually, with the exception of the SS, there was not that much thought put into the sniping. And I blame for this General Heinz Guderian. Like it or not, the father of the Blitzkrieg completely screwed the pooch on the sniping. And it wasn't until, I would say, 1942 when the reality started catching up to the German army and they started losing on the front lines the field grade officers and NCOs and the machine gunners like crazy.
Yeah.
And the big light bulb come in and then they started paying attention to, hey, maybe we should start doing something more in that department. But it is absolutely mind-blowing to me, that gap. Like, you are the leader in World War I, and then you kind of dropping the ball, and then you're chasing the always moving goalpost. Another thing which I cannot comprehend, if I would be in the shoes of the German supply sergeant during the World War II and in charge of the snipers' equipment, I would go insane because of the different variants, models, optics, and everything. They never really standardized on like British did, right? Okay, number 4, MK1T, we're rolling with it, no matter what, right? They did changes to the scopes and everything, but for the Germans it was, oh my gosh, single claw, double claw, short side rail, long side rail, the high turret, low turret, high turret, and then finally I would say this was more. I don't want to even. I won't even talk about the little bastard, which the people kind of don't like those, but they were still seen as sniper rifles with that little scope. But all I'm trying to say is, it's a madness. So now this puts the footprint on the collector's market too, not the collector's market, but collector's world, because you got so many different variations.
Yeah, the learning curve with German snipers is very steep. with German rifles. It's a big learning curve.
In the books you quoted too, that's mind-blowing. There are documents posted when the German administration was paying civilians for the scopes because they were short on the scopes, and taking the scopes to the army service because they were running out of the scopes too. So that adds another mixture. You may have a perfectly legitimate sniper. You may find perfectly legitimate sniper, and don't be scared that you have commercial scope on it, because that could be the case too.
Well, if it was the commercial scopes they did bring in, they brought them up to military spec. They will have removed. They put the the 1 to 8 turret on there. They will have taken the you can. They're hard to find. You can digest it. The thing about German snipers too is it's very hard to find a legit one that's earlier than 1944. They just didn't last very long. Short side rails just basically don't exist anymore.
Sure.
If you're new, I'm going to tell you, or if even you're advanced, just don't buy a short side rail. Just
because it's pretty much fake.
They don't exist. There's a few SS, but they're just not out there.
Matt, we all keep watching Gunbrooker and other places, and almost every week you got numerous German sniper rifles on the Gunbrooker. What is your take on that? Like, don't be stupid. Don't hit buy it now button. Like if you see the high turret, it's some unbelievably good price, $5,000. Probably this is not. And we're not saying it is not good, but it raises a flag. Also, when in the product description or the rifle description, guy says, "Well, I cannot determine is it real or is it fake," another red flag too. So, but I'll encourage you guys, don't be afraid. These guys don't bite on the forum. Go to the forum, right? And you can ask, hey, because we're talking about the serious money. The people commit the serious money to it, and you don't want to end up paying $7,000, $10,000, $15,000 and ending up with the regular rifle, which was
and Rock Island's another place where people get burned a lot. The thing to remember is if you decide you want a German sniper, you are getting into one of the most advanced collecting of World War II you can do. You need to be patient. You need to read a lot. You need to make a lot of friends. You need to be... Even when I go to look at buying a gun, I still will send pictures to 2 or 3 people, and I want their opinion on it too, because you're excited from wanting to buy it, and it's easy to overlook something.
Well, and as I said, even if the fakes were created, after 1945, it's already 2021. And so all those years add up to it. So of course you're going to have patina. Some people say, oh, it's got a patina, it's gotta be real. Dude, I mean, we're talking about the 60, 70 years already. Of course it pick up the dirt and everything. So I wouldn't, because the rifle's got the nice, finish worn out and the patina doesn't mean, I'm sorry for saying this, doesn't mean shit. Like you gotta go more into the details and vet this out. Like don't jump the gun.
But the good news is that's why I tell people start with high turrets, late high turrets, and long side rails. Once you know what to look for, are very hard to fake convincingly. The hard part at that point becomes if you've got a restored high turret. Some common things is a stock being sporterized, and then somebody tries to replace a stock and number it to the gun. There's nothing wrong with owning those guns, but there's a big price difference. And but just straight fake high turrets, very hard to fake once you know what to look for.
If you look at the hardware of the high turrets, the kind of machining, what was going into it, I would agree with Matt. Like it's really hard. Someone would have to be on the top of the game. How about the semi-automatic ones from the faker's point of view? What do you think?
G43s are a little trickier and different because they only made 10% of them were snipers. So but almost all of them have the rail. So just because it has a mount on there doesn't make it a sniper.
Yeah.
They numbered the rifle serial number they put on here early on. They put the scope and the rifle serial number. Then they drop that and just do the rifle. So G43s, the only way you really know it's an actual sniper is if the mount is matching. Otherwise, but they still, for most collectors, they just look good. You have an original rifle, you got original mount. They don't match. You put them on there. that's totally fine. From there, it's just a little trickier, just knowing what a real mount looks like. I describe it like federal officers that study counterfeit money. All they do is look at real money all day. So that when they see fake money, it just pops out to them. That's kind of how stuff like these mounts and these bases are. You just look at real ones a lot, and you know how they look. You just machining marks, coloring, shape, size, and then when you see fake ones, they just kind of stand out to you. You're kind of like, eh.
As far as the G43 goes, how hard it is to find today original sniper ones?
Very hard.
Very hard.
This is one of the true G43 snipers are one of the hardest snipers of World War II to find. Whereas high turrets and long side rails, I wouldn't particularly call them rare. They're uncommon. They're in very high demand. So when they do pop up, you'll have
a lot of
numerous people trying to buy them. But actual G43 snipers, very hard to find. But most people settle with just a very nice gun with an original mount on there, and that fills their collecting needs, and it's good enough.
Going back, we touched a little bit. What do you see on the market from about these rifles? They keep popping out much more often.
Yeah, ZF41s are another one that I tell new people to just stay away from, because again, you got to understand the history of them. You got to understand that the most common thing is people take older guns and makers that in 1941 Mauser was not making ZF41s. They didn't start making them until 43 because DUV could no longer make them, so they take up the production of them. So it's things like that. If you showed me, hey, I got a BYF 41 ZF41, I'd say, well, on DC pictures it's fake, because they weren't making them at that point.
Sure.
And so you just know.
So for those who are paying attention, this is your first clue. Dates.
Yes.
Dates mismatch.
Dates, codes, what things should be numbered. These are the first. Like I tell people, just don't even pay attention to the scope for a while. But sniper collectors, we have this bad habit of like trout. We see the scope and we just, it's got a scope on it, and you can't do that. You've got to understand your base rifle first. That's where the gun started. You want to know. That's usually where the issues are going to lie. But ZF41s are.
And I misspoke.
They're an advanced, I
misspoke.
sniper.
I said the 39-41. But the way which those scopes are set up too, if you're looking for a gun for a competition with vintage sniper shooting, I would not put my eggs into the basket for this model, because this is the long eye relief scope. Basically, if you will look through that scope, it is not really that comfortable. As I would say, the glass quality is not up to the pair to what we know from the high turret or from the claw models or from the side rails. This is completely different ball game. This was, I think, for the Germans, that was kind of patch on the arm, and some people are saying this is more like a DMR setup. I still see this as a sniper because officially I think they were designated as snipers. So
well, you definitely see pictures. You see wartime pictures of sniper schools,
and they were used. Yes,
a guy shooting a high turret, and the guy next to him's got a ZF41. Now
absolutely.
I don't know if
this is for real, and we know from the documents or even from the memoirs, journals of the German
some
snipers.
Guys got stuck with these.
Yes, they talk about it. So they for sure did exist and were used by snipers. As far as official designator, kind of up in the air. But that's like pretty much a basic crash course. Don't be afraid to ask. If something looks too good, guess what? Probably is too good. There is, I would say, in 2021, after all these years after the war, there's no miracles on the market. And pretty much with the internet and everything, people know what they got and what's happening. Yeah, you hear some crazy stories. Hey, the guy's pulling out the grandpa stuff because he passed away, and he's finding, untouched rifle. But that's very rare. So Matt, you're very approachable. People can ping you on the forum.
They can email me. I've got my contact information on my website.
Matt helped me Melt guided me through the minefield, because it is a minefield, and to pick mine German sniper.
Anything of value is a minefield.
That's true, but with Germans as well. Always, any German collectibles, there's always a problem, because every time when you got that little swastika on the item, people go nuts, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's we care about shooting.
They're the coolest.
They were the
bad
coolest,
guys.
right? They still lost the war, so America. But the truth is, it's always a magnet.
Mm-hmm.
These items are always. But regardless, they are beautiful rifles. Regardless of, guys, we talk about the German snipers, and I will do numerous episodes when I'm going to use the German sniper rifles in the war episodes, and don't get sold out on stuck up on the politics. It's not about the politics. We care about what the hardware can do, and the hardware is awesome. Mm-hmm. And you gotta give it this to even with the whole mess, different models and everything. Like, you look through their glass usually is jaw dropping, even per today's standard, right? They did a good job. Awesome, Matt. Thank you very much. Hopefully, I'll get you more, and we'll continue to do like a progression through all the stages of collecting of not just the German snipers, but maybe regular rifles too, and we'll keep plowing, because I think it is hard for the new guys. It is looking cool, but you have to be aware of all the danger, and at the end of the day, we want you in the hobby, but we don't want you to be bitter and sour right after the first purchase, because you dumped tons of money on something what is not real. Because this is not helping you, it's not helping anyone, right?
We hate the hobby.
We hate fakers, just like the person who got stoned by the fake item, because they do nothing good for the hobby. All right, guys, thank you for watching. As always, it's a pleasure to be at your house. Matt, right, one more time, thank you. And thanks for participating in the Modern Sniper match. You guys shot very nice. Very nice, thank you. All right, bye, guys. Bye.